Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me today, February 22nd, for the regular council meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. I'll start with the Land Acknowledgement. Blackfalds Town Council acknowledges that we are on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional meeting ground, gathering place, and traveling route to the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. And just to let everyone know that this evening you'll see council and staff wearing pink shirts in recognition of Anti-Bullying Awareness Day. First order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Administration, do we have any changes to the agenda this evening?
No, Your Worship.
Council, any additions? Not seeing any. Councillor Schwab.
I'll move to accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried unanimously. In case anybody is wondering why I'm standing here this evening, is I have the distinct honor to award service medals for our emergency service members who have long service. Coming from a background of public service, I recognize how important it is to pay acknowledgement to the members of our community who put themselves at risk to serve their community. So this is a great pleasure for me this evening. I'll be joined by Fire Chief Cote for these presentations. Thank you. The Alberta Emergency Service Award was introduced in January 1st, 2000 for individuals who serve in Alberta and are members of the organizations involved in or directly supporting the prevention of, preparedness for the response to day-to-day emergencies. The first 12-year inaugural presentation was at the Alberta Legislature on May 15th of 2003. This summer, the province of Alberta announced the additional bronze bar for those serving 22 years, a silver bar for those serving 32 years, and a gold bar for those serving 40 years. The following members are being recognized for their years of service for the presentation of the silver bar for 32 years of service: John Mccrimmon and Eugene Oshpolsky. And the following members are being recognized for 12 years of service: Tyler Borick, Cory Campbell, Zach France, and Garrett Kinley. Garrett Kinley was unable to be here this evening, so he will be awarded his medal at a later date. Garrett has been an active member of the fire department since 2013. Garrett has served with the following departments throughout the province, from Rockford, Tilly, and Strathmore, finally ending up here in Blackfalds. Currently, Garrett is a Class 8 firefighter with the department. Zach France. Zach has been an active member of the fire department since 2009. In 2019, Zach was promoted to lieutenant, and in his role is looked upon for direction and guidance among the membership. Zach has been active not only with the everyday activities of the fire department, but also contributing to our training and the mentoring of our new recruits. Zach has recently resigned from our department. We wish him all the best as he continues his career with the City of Calgary Fire Department and focuses on his family. Get her louder, someone. Thanks so much. Cory Campbell. Cory has been an active member of the fire department since 2008. In 2019, Cory was promoted to lieutenant, and in his role is looked upon for direction and guidance amongst the membership. Cory has been active not only with the everyday activities of the fire department, but also with mentoring our new recruits. Thank you so much. Thank you for service. Tyler Borup. Tyler joined the Blackfalds Fire Department in September 2019. Prior to becoming a member here, Tyler spent time with the Clearwater Regional Fire Services Department and the City of Lacombe Fire Department. Tyler is currently a Class A firefighter with the department. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Eugene Ostapolsky.
Don't trip.
Eugene has been an active member of the fire department since 1988. And over these many years, he has been in numerous positions with the Blackfalds Fire Department, including that of fire chief from 1994 to 1995. Eugene is very much looked upon for guidance and mentoring of our members, especially those newer to the fire service. Eugene is currently a Class A firefighter with the department. I'm going to make you hold it.
Okay.
Thank you for service.
Thank you.
John Mccrimmon. John joined the Blackfalds Fire Department in 1987, and over the many years, he has been actively involved as a firefighter with the Blackfalds Fire Service. John continues to be an active member with the Blackfalds Firefighters Association, and John is currently a Class A firefighter with the department. Thank you for your service. Thank you. We do have one more. The Alberta Emergency Service Medal honors emergency service personnel who are involved in supporting emergency prevention, preparedness, and response in Alberta. Community Peace Officer Joe Crokin joined the town's Peace Officer program in July of 2010. Prior to Blackfalds, he had been a peace officer with Alberta Health Services since March of 2001. Joe has been the cornerstone of the Blackfalds Municipal Enforcement Department for almost 12 years. He has worked hard to bring the department to a point where it is recognized as a leader in many areas and is often called upon for his advice by many. Today, with his medal, we thank and recognize the commitment Joe has made to both the province of Alberta and the town of Blackfalds through his service.
I'm smiling.
Great.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I knew that was coming.
Sorry.
You're like, we're out of here.
And that was the most people we've had in a room for quite some time. We have no public hearings. We have no business arising from the minutes. First item of business is the 7.1, the Cio Report.
Thank you, Your Worship, and here again presenting the Cio Report for Myron in his absence. It just happened to be another end of the month meeting where I get to read out the Cio Report for February. So under general, this is what Myron has been doing at the moment. Departments have continued to struggle with shortages resulting from COVID-19 over the last month. These effects have impacted all departments and due to be in close contact or testing positive, it has resulted in the loss of work time. Provincial changes in isolation time and testing have required adjustments to our COVID-19 policy, which are reflected in our requirements for time off due to COVID. The goal continues to ensure our staff remain healthy while having the ability to stay at home if they are sick. On February 9th, 2022, the provincial announcement removed the REP program as they moved into step one of their plan to remove restrictions. This has resulted in less confrontation for staff, with no longer having to verify vaccinations, and this allows full access to all our facilities for all residents, regardless of vaccine status. The multiplex adult hockey can once again be played freely without having shown proof of vaccination, and this opens our facilities up for all residents. Town employees in all departments continue to get the job done in a professional manner, even when they're running short staffed. Our public works and CSD departments have worked together to ensure our central services are done in a timely manner, taking on the duties as required. Our fire department continues to ensure strict protocols are in place in efforts to reduce the chance of infection. Completed the CAO work plan for 2022 and will be reviewed by council on March 8th. The CAO met with Wolf Creek Superintendent to discuss the need for a replacement facility for the Iron Ridge Elementary campus and the approach to advance the provincial approval. Also discussed the working relationship between the town and school divisions of matter of mutual interest. Assisted a number of projects, including the Centre Plaza development, food bank renovations, and Civic Centre lower renovations. Attended the virtual Brownlee LLP Emerging Trends in Municipal Law Symposium, and he worked with the Historic Society on historic photos that may be utilised for the creation of murals for the Centre Plaza project. Economic development work's being finalised on the Blackfalds welcome video. Work is being done on the affordable housing research, ongoing discussions on new business development interests. Work has been done on the Digital Service Squad initiative, constant contact populating, various award nominations for organisations, discussions and participations in new business marketing and LUV discussions, working on the EV program, including research, implementation options, and grant funding opportunities, participation in multiple webinars, Eagle Builder Centre lease space attraction options and discussions, numerous economic development related meetings, and review process options to increase marketing and development opportunities on the 9.9 acre town-owned parcel east of the RCMP detachment. Under corporate services, administration has been working with Energy Associates to review electrical and natural gas usage. This will be using consultants to analyse our current demand and provide recommendations back to the administration. Work has begun on the tangible capital asset policy, annual employee reviews, and respecting workplace training for staff. Finance, the 2022-24 operating budget updates and changes brought back to this council meeting tonight. Year-end work continues on capital projects, capital tangible assets, work in progress, finalising projects, funding entries, reconciling reserve transfers, and the equity accounts. Information compiled for our auditors, and they're on site in March. Under information technology, FOIP and records management, preparing council chambers audio visual upgrade information session for discussion with council coming up on the 8th. Schedule our scale cluster server node replacement starting in late February. Researching software to identify file duplicates in our servers. We finalized the GP 2018 upgrade and request to transition over to the new server. Troubleshooting phone call qualities, that's a radio link issue. New photocopy was installed at the Abbey Centre. They're much appreciative of that. Lower level file room recommendation determination, and ongoing inventory of municipal records. Under marketing communications, the preparation of the annual report to the community is in its first draft, and we've reintroduced the staff newsletter on a quarterly basis, and Highway 2A and Group Panorama Intersection Traffic Improvement Survey is out there. Infrastructure and Property Services, the LUB update final amendments to the sign section are now complete. Comprehensive review of the district use tables and enforcement review is underway. Draft land use bylaw for internal review is complete, and mapping updates are also complete. For the fees and fines bylaw, staff are putting the final touches on the revised bylaw enforcement. Enforcement are reviewing the bylaw in conjunction with the updated LUB to ensure enforceability. Memos of bylaw will come forward in March to council. The NGA requires school joint use agreements. They attended a webinar and additional work to comply with the NGA required between the town and our school divisions on, before June 2023, so they're working on that. The area structure plans for Good Acre draft ASP for the quarter section immediately east of Greystone Ranch has been submitted for review by the internal departments. This is now complete. As for Lake's area structure plan amendment, which is necessary to accommodate the new Catholic elementary school, is expected to be submitted for review soon. Under the super annexation, referral agencies have been responding to the notice of intent that went out in mid-December. To date, no objections have been raised. The department has completed the notification for an in-person open house March 24th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Ongoing development inquiries, permits, and records management for discussion continue. Snow removal complete on residential roadways. Thank you, Public Works, for the team and all their hard work. In alignment with the ESS goals, administration is developing a public communication material for wastewater management. Members of the Public Works team and Infrastructure Services Manager will be visiting businesses to discuss the importance of storage, don't pour, and discard other materials that is detrimental to the town's wastewater collection system. The reports for phase 2, ESA and CAP assessment for the old landfill project are now complete. Currently working on development scope on the paving condition study. Timelines for field work and it's anticipated for June, July 2022 with the final report delivered in October. This will include a 10-year repair and replacement program for the town's entire road network and will assist in future capital improvement planning. Deliverables for the FCM grant approval for the asset management software program was submitted in January. The sidewalk repair policy and replacement policy was brought forward to council for approval February 8th. Under community services, Abbey Centre, we have been experiencing increasing bookings since the restrictions have been lifted. Our program is increasing for the spring summer months. The Archery Alberta tournament took place at the facility over the long weekend, and Child Mind referral campaign ran the month of January with the prize winner getting a $100 gift card. Under the Eagle Builders Centre, facility utilisation has been very good. Several tournaments have been hosted, with the most recent one including 29 minor hockey teams. Some cleanup of the outstanding construction process, including concession mechanical hookups alongside with some electrical throughout the library and arena. Mini rink is scheduled to be installed in March. Arena glass stations have been replaced with glass slips, and the black netting has been replaced with white netting as per the original specifications. Parking around the facility has been a challenge with the larger events, and we look forward to experience a vast improvement upon the completion of the parking facility. Under FCSS, the Seniors Walking Club has seen great success since its inception in December 2021, with 18 to 22 participants every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 11 at the Abbey Centre. FCSS board reviewed the 2021 financial report. At the February board meeting, grant applications have been opened with the board scheduled to be reviewed. Funding applications at the end of the April meeting. National Volunteer Week. Volunteer Week is rapidly approaching and volunteer award nominations are now open. Visit blackfalds.ca under volunteers to find the 2021 nomination forms. All FCSS youth programming continues to operate at capacity. Summer planning is underway with additional programs being researched to continue to meet the current needs. Parks and facilities. We continued the outdoor maintenance activities around the facility exteriors on trails, sidewalks, outdoor rinks, and ponds. Light Up Blackfalds lights stay on an extra week. Typically, they're turned off the second week of January. Teardown has begun and will continue as weather and resources allow. Facility staff are working hard at the Eagle Builder Centre, learning new operations, supporting ongoing events, and keeping the facility clean. Under projects and events, concepts for the Eagle Builder Centre Plaza, or the Centre Plaza, is moving forward and we brought to council in March. Food bank renovations will begin in March, as outside the building will be done alongside the new kitchen facility. The AJHL showcase at the Eagle Builder Centre has been confirmed and will take place September 29th to October 1st. Family Fun Day took place this past Family Day holiday, which was a small event this year due to COVID. Ice sculptures, barbecue, and free public skating. Restrictions were lifted a little bit too late to do a full-scale event. Municipal enforcement and protective services. Municipal enforcement officers have issued 50 violation tickets so far during the month of February, and 28 investigation files have been opened up. At the start of February, 2 practicum students from Ridley College started with the department. In total, they'll be completing 80 to 100 hours with the officers. So far, this has been off to a great start, with students being provided a great experience. The department has been assisting Public Works with snow removal, which has gone well overall, with the exception of a few vehicles that had to be towed. A number of parking violations continue to rise within the town. Officers continue to enforce these both proactively and in response to numerous complaints coming in. RCMP. The RCMP have been working on executing many of the outstanding warrants over the past few days, and 11 subjects have been arrested during this period. Emergency management. Manager Morrison has been working on updating the contact information and developing a tabletop exercise to be conducted within the town. Under fire, 6 members attended the line of duty death funeral for Castus firefighter Rayfield. Departments across the province and a few from Saskatchewan was in attendance. 6 officers attended the first aid recertification, oxygen therapy certification training on February 12th. The department is looking at putting the grass equipment into service a month early and providing a refresher training on the equipment. 3 bid packages have been received for the replacement rescue pumper truck. These packages are currently being reviewed. Under occupational health and safety, the near miss project has been rolled out, with employees providing input through the boxes provided in strategic locations throughout the town buildings. And that is the Cio Report.
Thank you, Director. Professor, does anyone on council have questions from the director? Although I know that this is not your report, so we may not have all of the answers. I do have just quick clarification under economic development, the last point, the reviewing process options to increase the marketing and development for that 9.9 acre. Do you have any detail about what exactly that means?
Yeah, we've had some discussions on actively marketing it, and some of the options that have come up is actually doing some conceptual drawings of what could potentially go on there. So they're starting to work through kind of what that could look out like and how we could advertise that, whether it's a hotel site, whether it's a strip mall, whether it's that. And so that information gets compiled that hopefully the conferences that the EDO does go to, he'll have some handouts saying, hey, we've got this site available.
Thank you. As opposed to the passive efforts that we made in the past with just simply having a sign and a listing. We're trying to I think that's a great idea. Some conceptual art to show what could potentially be there. Wonderful. Thank you.
Just a quick question, do you know what kind of response we've had in regards to the survey?
I don't off the top of my head, but I think it's coming back to council very soon. I think we've got 2 more days of the survey being open. I've only seen the comments on the public, kind of facing Blackfalds page there, but the actual survey results I don't have access to it.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was a good response or not.
It will, and it's still open, correct?
Yeah, I think for 2 more days.
Friday.
Thank you. More questions? Seeing none, can I get a motion to accept the information? Councilor Stanley.
I'll move to accept the Cio report as information.
Thank you. Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried unanimously. 7.2, request for decision, councillor board appointment for the Parkland Regional Library.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll present this one. On February 3rd, 2022, the CEO received notice from Councillor Swart that she would like to resign the position of Parkland Regional Library Board due to scheduling conflicts with work. Councillor Coulter expressed the interest of being appointed to the board. So tonight, we are looking for we've got 2 recommendations here for council. The council moved to formally accept the resignation of Councillor Swart from the Parkland Regional Library Board effectively immediately with regrets. And the second motion is to appoint Councillor Coulter to the Parkland Regional Library Board.
Thank you. Any questions before we accept the motions? I think that's a positive thing. We were, with the councillor being elected in by-election, it's certainly nice to see that we can fill a position that you want. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
I was just gonna say, I don't see it being contested, so I'm prepared to move.
Okay.
That council formally accept the resignation of Councillor Swart from the Parkland Regional Library Board effective immediately with regrets.
Thank you. All in favor? That is unanimous. Second motion? Yes, Councillor Sachs.
I'll move that council appoints Councillor Coulter to the Parkland Regional Library Board.
Thank you. All in favor? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.3, request for decision 2022 operating budget.
Thank you, Worship and Council. So before you, you have the 2022 operating budget. So the operating budget has been prepared and reviewed through a collaborative process. This process began earlier in the year with the budget timeline. Budget engagement happened in September, where we had a community booth at the expo. We did an online survey as well. Under Section 242 of the MGA, it requires the budget to be approved prior to the start of the calendar year. As you're aware, in December, we did approve the interim operating budget, and that was a carbon copy of 2021 budget. We had budget workshops held on the 28th and 29th, where council administration reviewed each department throughout the town. Appendix A has incorporated modifications from the budget workshops, as well as some administrative changes that we found after the fact. Under financial implications, this operating budget, the 2022 operating budget, is presented with a 0% tax increase. Over the past 3 years, administration and council have worked hard at absorbing the inflationary factors by looking at efficiency, streamlining processes, and as a result, held tax increases well under the Alberta CPI. There's a table there just kind of highlighting the Alberta CPI as of December of the previous year to our tax rate increases, and you can see that we've been 0.6% over the last 3 years, where Alberta CPI is just under 8%. Appendix D is a financial plan. That is our 22 to 24 financial plan. We have estimated some tax increases in there at 2% for 23 and 24. Under utilities, we have spoken on this in January. Once again, the utility rates for water and wastewater was held at a 0% increase as well. The administration recommendations, there's 2 there tonight. The council moved to accept the recommendation of administration to approve the 2022 Town of Blackfalds operating budget of $29,801,048. And the second motion there is that council accepts the 2022 to 2024 financial plan as information. The process after this budget does get approved is to the preparation of the property tax bylaw, and that will come in April. So, and with that, I'll open up for any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Director DeBrusser. Councilor Stenday.
It's not a question, actually. It's a comment. I wanted to say to whoever had the foresight to put a link in there for the January meeting, thank you. It was fantastic. I appreciate it.
Mr. Sands.
I'm just prepared to move.
Any other questions for clarification before we accept motions? Okay, seeing none, so we do have two recommended motions. You're looking at the first one, I would assume? Go ahead.
I'm prepared, council move to accept the recommendation of administration to approve the 2022 Town of Blackfalds operating budget of $29,801,048.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Now, I know that we started out this process, we adopted this 0% option a number of months ago. It was I think it was quite a difficult decision to do so. I think everybody recognizes that that many people in our community have been struggling with increases right across the board. That said, I don't think it would be surprising anyone to realize that the costs for the town have also gone up, just like they have for everyone else. So we did start this out with a 1.5%, I believe, is what we were proposing, which I felt at the time was a good compromise. I've had difficulty with this 0%. I understand that there's two sides to this. I understand that there are people that need and would like to see this break. My concern about 0% moving forward is that we're just passing the buck along to people in the future, and if the CPI continues to remain as high as it has been the last few months, that's certainly going to increase the costs for the town itself. That said, I really do appreciate the work that administration has done to look at efficiencies. I think that's ultimately what I think I can speak for most people on council. That's what we're looking for when we ask for a lean budget, is to first identify efficiencies first before we cut services. I really do hope that this doesn't come back later on and cost us significantly more. That would be my concern. So saying that, I won't be in support of this. I would have liked to see at least a slight increase to try and avoid that. But at the same time, I do want to say thank you to administration for all the hard work to try and achieve it the way it is presented now. Does anyone else have comments? So I call the question. All in favor? All opposed? And that is just carried. And second motion. Someone, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Certainly. I would like to move that council accepts the 2022 to 2024 financial plan as information.
Thank you. Any questions from administration? But I did have, I don't see it from anyone else. I do have one question. I'm just looking at the financial plan compared to the budget. It shows a fairly significant jump in the budget itself for revenues for rentals. And then in the financial plan, it's fairly level at a smaller amount. What is the connection between those two, just so I understand? Because I would have assumed that the plan would have increased the same as our rental revenue.
So with reference to appendix, like the appendix D.
So Let me find this. We've got in rentals about 120,000, and it's increased quite a bit between 21 and 22.
Yeah.
But moving forward, we're kind of sticking with that. And again, maybe what I'm looking for is clarification. Is that rentals that we're anticipating?
Yeah, so the biggest addition was the extra ice surface. So that's the rent coming off the ice surface,
Yes.
the new ice surface, and of course it evens out over the extra couple of years. So last year we didn't have it. We added the extra rental income from the extra ice surface, and that's the big jump, about 120 to 150. I can't remember what it was. But once that revenue's in the revenue line, that kind of just keeps going across the next couple of years.
I'm just looking at the financial plan moving forward. It doesn't show that anticipated increase or the difference between 21 and 22. So that was
Yeah,
just
there's minor increases, like you're talking the 1.2 million to 1.24.
Let's see, we've got rentals.
Yeah.
At about 120, jumping up. Let me find this.
Yeah, we've only put about 30,000 in between 22 and 23. And you would see from 21 to 22, that was a bigger jump if I'm hearing you correctly. However, a small inflationary, kind of on the revenue side for user fees or rentals here has been budgeted for.
So, I mean, and again, this is just anticipating what might be. So there's a likelihood that we could see a significantly higher revenue in 23.
Definitely for 23 and 24, the rates and fees bylaw will be coming back. I think that work gets done through the summer, if I'm not mistaken, and it comes back, I think, in September before the season hits. But we're just talking, the ice kind of rental income at the moment. So definitely there'll be a full kind of review of our ice surface and what rates we do actually charge there. So that will come back to council in September, just before budget time as well. So those figures are prelim. I think we put a very minor increase. However, the actuals will come back through the rates and fees bylaw.
Thank you. Councilor Coulter.
Just quick question, looking at the appendix D there, the 900 account, the fund and reserve, 2024, there's only $250.
Yes.
Is that because it's done on an actual?
Yeah, no, there's a small, that $250 relates to a reserve that we have that has stipulations on how we use that money. And I think that $250 was a scholarship or a bursary that gets transferred there. But you have picked up on that that funding for reserve is our operating transfer coming into the operating budget to make us balance. So further to Hoover's comment on the 0% tax increases, that's one of the mechanisms we have to use this year to actually get a 0%. 23, we're going to pull about 293,000 at this stage. Hopefully that goes down just to balance the budget. In 24, we're hoping that with 2% increases over the next couple of years, we'll even that out, and 2024 we'll have a balanced budget based on the plan at the moment. But that $250 will be there in perpetuity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it just looks funny.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So there's a good reason for it being there. So.
Councilor Stendy.
Just through the chair, to clarify, I believe, and I could be wrong, but that's the Dylan Stork Scholarship. So that carries over every year, you'll see that.
Thank you. Any more debate or discussion? So we do have the motion from Deputy Mayor Bell to accept the financial plan as information. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Uh, 7.4, the Civic Center lower level concept layout.
Yes, thank you, Worship and Council. I'm here to talk about the potential for lower level renovation. As you guys are aware, the library relocated to the Eagle Village Center in December of 2021, opening up the lower level of the Civic Center. And what we're looking at possibly doing is moving the FCSS department to the lower level of the Civic Center and possibly moving planning and development over to the east side where the existing library, where the old library was. So FCSS into where planning and development is, planning and development over to where the old library was. So we've reviewed the plans with administration staff and ACI, and the plans are included in the document here. So yeah, we're just looking for your blessing to go ahead to RFP and try to see who we can get to do these renovations for us.
Thank you. And congratulations,
Thank you.
Director Hartwich, your first meeting as director. I know you've presented numerous times as manager, but finally settled into this job. Thank you for that. Any questions for Director Hartwich? Yes, Dr. Mirabel.
Thank you. Do we have an idea of what timelines we have in mind for this renovation to take place?
I couldn't even hazard a guess with the way things are going. But I'm assuming, well, we'll put it into the RFP, the schedule that they'd have to provide us for renovations. I have no idea. I don't actually give you
But
an idea.
as that space is now currently empty though, renovations could start
It can start
fairly
immediately.
quickly.
Yeah. I would hope for before the end of the year, but I can't guarantee.
Thank you.
Councillor Stendig.
So just a couple of questions. My first one is how much additional square footage would that actually give the FCSS?
I just know that it gives them one additional office. And
So
of
we
course,
don't
there's
know if it's
probably
the
a little bit
same.
more admin, just a little bit more.
Okay.
I don't know the exact number,
Would you be able to provide that?
for sure.
Perfect. And then as well, do we have any idea when council can expect plans for the old FCSS building to come forward before council?
Probably identify that or bring that up in the next meeting, I would think, right?
Yeah.
In March sometime.
In March? Okay.
Any other questions, clarification? So we have a recommendation to accept this preliminary layout. Someone willing to make a motion? Councillor Stendig.
I'm prepared to move that council accept preliminary layout option C for the Civic Center lower level renovation and move forward with advancing the project, including a RFP for the project.
Any discussion or debate on the motion? As we know, that is just simply sending this out for RFP, so we aren't committing ourselves to anything at this point. Seeing no debate. Call the question, all in favor? And that is carried unanimously, thank you. .5 electric vehicle charging system network.
The Municipal Climate Change Action Center is providing grant funding for municipalities to support investments in electric vehicle charging stations. This includes up to $10,000 per port for each level 2 charger for charging over several hours, and up to $150,000 for each fast charger for charging up to 30 minutes. Electric vehicle charging stations are useful tools for economic development, as they encourage local spending in the area where the chargers are located. The proposed locations for the grant application have been picked because they're close to shopping, community events, and restaurants. Administration is advising that we apply for 2 level 2 chargers with dual port, with the intention that visitors spend a few hours in Blackfalds. The locations administration is proposing for the charging stations are Tuddy Ponds and Eagle Builder Center. The grant application is open on a first come, first served basis. So administration is trying to get the application in as soon as possible. We welcome any input on this program as well. The grant includes funding for the charging station and equipment, install and construction costs, permitting and inspection costs, and signage costs. Does not include the cost to route power to the charger station. If the town is successful in the grant application and there are costs to route power to the charging location, this information will be brought forward to council for their consideration. In the grant application, municipalities are also expected to include intended rates for the stations. Administration is advising there be no charge for station use, as it may not provide an incentive to use the chargers where others close by are free. The approximate cost for the use of the charging stations to the municipality is $2 per hour. So our recommendations are that council support the implementation of an EV charging program for the community, that council supports the application for the EV charging station grant being offered through the Municipal Climate Change Action Center, and that council move to provide electric vehicle charging stations free of charge for users.
Thank you. Anyone on council have questions? Yes, Councillor Stendy.
So just for anyone who's watching, it says the town already has one station. Where is it located? And just out of curiosity, how much is it utilized?
I would have to get back to you on how much it's utilized, but it is behind Blackfalds Home Hardware.
Councillor Sands.
Yes, thank you. I was just wondering, the cost to the municipality, $2 an hour, is that for time used, or is that a charge that's going to be ongoing, even when the unit's not being used?
Nope, it's just for when the charger is in use.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have two questions. My first one being, do we know our nearby EV chargers, so I would think the ones in Red Deer as an example, do we know that if they are fast charging ones or if they're the slower ones?
I would have to get back to you on that as well.
Okay, because it would be interesting to know, because if everyone else has the faster charge ones, it might not draw people to our municipality. And then my second question is that I know there's come to our attention that there have been issues with getting power in the area around Tutty Pond. So if we have to upgrade this infrastructure, or if we have to upgrade the infrastructure in that area for this, will that also update the infrastructure for future builds in that area?
I am not sure on that.
Fair. I didn't expect an answer right now, but that's my question. Thank you.
Councillor Dennis.
I think Eagle Builders Center, we had to relax the parking in their initial plan, even after Broadway's open. I think taking up a spot just for that is not good for that facility, because we've relaxed parking in it, even with the original plan, that parking was relaxed. And I think that could be an issue over there, like maybe put it somewhere other than the Eagle Builder Center.
Councillor Scott.
I'm just wondering, when you guys were discussing possible places for this, did you guys think of by the gas and wash? There's that little strip of parking that's not utilized very much, and it's close to the center of downtown. You looked into that, because I know the power would be easier to run there than down at Tutty Ponds even. So.
I think we might have looked at that. I'm not sure exactly where you're referring to, but I think with the location at Home Hardware and then our proposed location of the Eagle Builders Center, we don't want them too close together.
So that's fine.
Yes.
The only thing is, with Home Hardware, nobody knows that it's there because it's in the back alley, I'm assuming, where this would be like right across from Serena's Pizza and more visible for people to actually see when they're coming into town.
Councillor Scott. Or Stendy. Councillor.
Would it be possible for administration to bring forward a couple of other recommendations for locations in our community? Because I tend to agree. I think that there may be potentially better places for these, and I do think that they would be a benefit to our community. I think it would be a great addition, but I do see some of the concerns that other councillors are bringing up, and I have some of my own just with the locations that were chosen.
Yeah, we could do that.
Deputy Mayor Bell.
Thanks. And just to clarify, sorry, did you already say how long the one behind the hardware store has been there? Do we know? Because this is the first I've ever heard that we had one in town.
I'm not sure.
I think I briefly heard about it from our EDO at one point when we discussed this, but yeah, I don't know how long it is. Councillor Stende.
So if we were to, because I understand that there is a urgency to this because of the grant attached, if council was to agree to go ahead with the understanding that locations are to be determined, would that be sufficient?
For the grant application, we would have to have specific locations chosen.
Oh, that's too bad.
And that was my question, was whether or not the grant was contingent on having these locations. Now, that being said, if we apply with these proposed locations, is this something that would be impacted if we were to change those? Would we lose the grant? Would we have to reapply?
I think if we did want to change it, then there is the option to approach MCCAC and make the changes to a different location.
And just sound from listening to other councillors here and my own opinion, that would be a great concern. I know I had a little bit of discussion with CEO Thompson when we were adding this to the agenda. I'm sure that you guys have debated these locations fairly heavily. I do believe that how much the cost for bringing infrastructure in is going to play a huge role in whether or not this is supported by council and by the community. I think that in my mind, these have to be located in places that already have the infrastructure in place. And I know that, as Deputy Mayor Appel stated or was asking about the different fast charging or standard charging, the power requirements for between those two are quite different. Where we might be able to put a typical. Now, would the grant have to be specific as to whether or not it's a fast charging or standard?
Yes, we would have to choose that as well.
Okay. And all right.
And I should also note there's a limit of $200,000, so it may be only one fast charger.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cole.
Just a question on location. Is there a reason why there wasn't one picked on the east side of the road?
We were kind of limited because it has to be on municipally owned land and we have to have the right of way as well. So we were really limited in the spots that we could choose.
Thank you. That's good.
Well, I know from my perspective, if I don't have any problem with us having a program like this. I don't have a problem with us applying for a grant as long as we have the ability to make changes based on costs, based on feasibility, based on what seems to be the best fit. As long as we have some assurances that that is the case, then I could support this. But based on sketchy information, I might have a harder time. That's why, yeah, Deputy Mayor Buffer.
Thanks. So we do have, our next meeting is in 2 weeks. Do we feel that a delay of 2 weeks would knock us out of the running for the grant?
I can't really speak to that. The funding, there's $2 million in funding for this program and it is on first come, first served basis.
Right. Okay. Only because I think, with the questions that we brought forward tonight, I do think they need to be worked out just a little bit, especially the one of if it's a level 2 charger or a fast charger, because the costs are greatly different. And B, if we're gonna put in infrastructure and a level 2 charger, at this point in time, it's possibly older technology. I'm not certain on that because I don't have an electric vehicle. But I'm guessing if that takes longer and the fast ones are faster, then it's an older technology. I'm just thinking, by the time it's installed and where we are we already going to be putting in something that's that far behind? So without the answers to those questions, I won't be able to vote in favor of this today. But although I think it's a great idea. I'm not against the idea.
Councillor Sands. answer the question.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I like the idea as well. I'm just concerned with a couple things, and that is the location. Also with the infrastructure and the upgrades in infrastructure that we know that we're going to have eventually over time. We're going to have that. I know that's hard to put a price on that type of thing. I know we're kind of in a time constraint right now for this, but I just don't think we are there yet, and I can't support it myself.
Councillor Swam.
It's red. Anyway. There we go. Yeah, I can't support it either, and my thoughts are on the east side, because I had to think of our inventory over there. There is the park that's really close to Parkwood on Panorama, and I think that would be a great place also to put a charging station, because it's close to that side of the highway for the businesses over there as well. So, but right now I can't support this. I think we need more information on what grants are available, if we should go with the faster charging or the slower charging, but until we have more information, I just can't vote in favor of it.
So based on these recommendations, are we committing ourselves to anything financially with this?
Not through applying for the program, because the program will cover everything, except for moving power.
Right. So no commitment by voting for this. I realize that people have concerns. There's a lot of questions that we want answers to, but I think that there are a lot of people in our community that would support, people that are interested in the environment. I mean, of course, there's two sides. Some people aren't very supportive of electric vehicles. Some people have concerns about whether our electrical grid, our power grid in general, can support a huge infrastructure like this. But I think from my perspective, looking at this for our community, I see it fit. And I will be in support of this, knowing that there's no financial commitment at this point. This is just like going, for me, in my mind, this is like going out for RFP, where we're looking for, we're showing a support for the concept, but we're not putting our money on the table for this at this point. So I would support this based on that premise. But I would agree with the other councillors. I have significant questions about costs and whether or not we could support costs with the locations that are being proposed. And I also have similar concerns whether those are the right locations. So if we have some flexibility in the long run, again, I would support it knowing that. That's my position. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I respectfully, Mr. Mayor, I disagree with you simply because the two items of information they want for the grant are which one we're going with, which power source, and where they're going, and those are the things that we're not sure on. So I almost, at this point, I wouldn't want staff to have to do the grant application if down the road, if we go to change it, the grant might get thrown out. The application might get thrown out anyway if we have to change it. So I just think if we can wait 2 weeks and do it right and put it in and not have to make changes, then we might even have a better chance at getting the grant as opposed to someone who puts in an application and then submits a whole bunch of changes.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Coulter.
Just a quick question. So we don't pay for the unit itself, but we have to pay for running the power into it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have an estimated cost on that?
No, not yet, but we will bring that back to council for your information and approval.
Okay, because that would sort of go hand in hand with the grant, would it not? For us as councillors, knowing the cost of running the power into the unit?
Yes, but we can apply for the grant and you can decide to not do it as well.
Councillor Swan.
So based on the discussions, if nobody has any more comments, I'm prepared to move that council provide further direction to administration in relations to specifics of the program, including that of the location and the cost for the service.
Okay, so what was the direction though? with this motion? We could refer this back to administration for further information?
Yeah, we need more information on the locations, on the cost, the general cost.
Okay.
What is it gonna cost our community?
So of those, so rather than, because you were reading the second one,
Yeah.
we're not providing direction, but we are referring this back to administration for further information. Now, with that, we could add a timeline. You said that 2 weeks
The next
March
council meeting.
would fall within the timeline for us potentially to apply. Whether or not we would get it at that point because it's competitive is a different thing.
Yeah.
But we still have time if this is referred back.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that reasonable to say that council refer this item back to administration for further information? To be giving you 2 weeks to come back with this. Okay. Everyone's clear on that? All in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Thank you. Action correspondence, 8.1, the letter from the Society of Hospital Expansion in Central Alberta. Now, I did receive this letter about 2 weeks ago. This happens to be someone that a doctor that I'm actually a patient of. Fantastic orthopedic surgeon. Had a good discussion with him. Obviously, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of argument from any resident of Central Alberta that we need more services and we need to improve the services particularly at our hospital. We are looking for, I guess, a motion to accept this for information. So let me get down to it. Yes.
Are they looking for a letter of support, or are you wanting to accept this as information? Because I read it as they are looking for letters of support.
Yeah, I think that they are looking for support from municipalities. I know that in my initial response to Dr. Wilson-Holm, I did tell him that I fully support this, but I would certainly think that's appropriate to direct administration to draft a letter of support.
Okay, well, that said, I'm prepared to make the motion that on behalf of council administration, direct letter of support to, I'm
The hospital
assuming,
expansion in Central Alberta.
well, no,
Society.
it's for the society, but I would assume that it would be
They would like
to the Minister of Health on behalf of our council in support of the Society for Hospital Expansion in Central Alberta. Did you get that? Does that make sense?
so
Yes?
a friendly amendment.
Perfect.
Deputy Mayor Bell.
Sorry, friendly amendment. So in the letter, he specifies 3 different actions we can take. So I would suggest that we send actually 2 letters. So one, as Councillor Stenday mentioned, so action point number 2 in his letter is to go to the health minister, and action point number 1 is to send a letter to the Minister of Advanced Education in regards to Red Deer Polytechnic and schooling.
Amendment accepted.
Thanks. And then I just have a comment before we vote. That point number 3 in his letter, we are already doing through the BH Park committee, the Blackfalds Health Retention and Attraction Committee. So that's great. Once our welcome to Blackfalds video is done and can be shared, I think we look forward to sharing that out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. And that was part of my discussion with him, to let him know that we have in our own community tried to pursue healthcare professionals, and so that let him know that we were already meeting one of his asks, and we've considered these others. So we do have a motion. Did everybody understand the motion that we were sending a letter of support to the Minister of Advanced Education and the Education Minister, I believe that was, or sorry, and the Health Minister. Okay. Any debate, discussion? All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Information item 9.1, Municipal Planning Commission minutes from January 11th. 9.2 Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Committee meetings, minutes from December 13th. Nine point three, City of Lacombe Council meeting highlights from February 14th. And 9.4 FCSS minutes from January 13th. Nine point five volunteer awards. Councillor Stendy.
I do this every year and I'm going to do it again this year. If any member of council or administration knows a volunteer who deserves recognition, please, please, please make sure that you fill out your forms and get them in on time, because I know last year was difficult trying to get nominations for volunteers because it was a pandemic year, and it is more challenging to find volunteer opportunities. So I think now more than ever, we should be recognizing our volunteers for the outstanding service that they provide to our community, especially in another pandemic year.
Thank you, yes, I fully agree. And this is something that we've had, unfortunately, not been able to hold an awards ceremony, which in the past was growing quite significantly. It was quite an amazing event, so I'm truly hoping that we have that opportunity this year. Any questions or comments from any of the information items? Councillor Swap.
I'll move to accept the information items as information.
Thank you. Any discussion or debates? All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. We have our roundtable discussion. So I will start at Councillor Stendy. We'll work our way around the table.
It is all there for anybody who wants to read it. If you have questions, my contact information is all over the place.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Stendy? Councillor Sands.
Yeah, mine's pretty straightforward. A bunch of other events, some webinars that I sat in on regarding policing in Alberta. Yeah, and so if anybody has any questions or anything, get a hold of me.
Thank you. Questions for Councillor Sands? Deputy Mayor Powell.
Thank you. As well, the only thing I will briefly mention was the Wolf Creek School Board meeting on February 4th. Hopefully the school board sees some action out of that meeting. I know it's the rebuild of IREC has been a long time. It's been required for a number of years, and it's yeah, hopefully we can see that project get back to the top of the list and move forward.
Thank you. Questions for Deputy Mayor Powell? Councillor Swap.
My roundtable is posted, but I do want to make a note. I attend the IRJC Parent Council meeting, and the teachers, the staff, they put such great dialogue into their meetings. Like the last two meetings I've attended, the one on January 18th and January 15th, have all been on mental health and wellness and educating the students in the school and also the staff on their PD days. The information they gave us, the slideshows and the presentations on both the council meetings, it was amazing. And I just encourage everybody that has students in all 4 of our schools in town to please go to your parent council meetings. There's very, very rarely very many parents that attend any of these meetings. And I just want to encourage everybody to check out your school and see what they're doing within our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Councillor Swap? Councillor Dennis.
Mine's pretty straightforward too, if there's any questions.
Thank you. And Councillor Coulter.
I wasn't sure how to fill it out, so it looks very plain. Seeing everybody else's this time, I have a good idea what I need to be doing. I honestly did not understand I mean,
Well, just for the benefit of people watching, I mean, literally the roundtable, we do provide a form for councillors to provide a list of things that they've participated in the past month, but it is a roundtable. Anything that the councillor wants to make the other council members aware of or the public aware of that is of interest to them or something they participated in is free to bring up in this. So this is the format that we provide just to give each council the ability to document what they've done over the past month. And it is a little bit shorter than the last one, but the last one was 3 months.
well, to be completely honest, since I got elected in, I've been extremely busy doing training. Of
Yes.
a number of different things that I've been trying to fit in. So
And fair enough, you joined the party late and you had some catching up to do, so I would imagine that.
yes, the last month has been very busy for me.
Yes, thank you so much. And for myself, again, it is a bit of a lighter month than the previous report. I do have a couple of things that were of interest. Just as Councillor Schwab was talking about with the Iron Ridge Junior Campus, I'm on the committees for the intermediate campus, the St. Gregory's. The intermediate campus has struggled even more, I think, than the junior campus to get parents involved. In fact, they've had such little turnout, and they've tried various ways to try and get parents involved. So certainly they are willing to hold these meetings if they can get interest. So if you do have questions, please reach out to your school. I know that St. Gregory has a little bit better luck when it comes to getting parents involved. They hold some great meetings. One of the more interesting things that's happened for St. Gregory in the last little while, the Catholic School Board had a CNC machine, I think that's what it's called, you know, those machines that can cut out wood, metal, and things like that. They had one that they rotated around the school system, and they had it for about two months here at St. Gregory, and it was so popular. They had little grade 2, grade 3 students that were teaching the parents and the teachers how to use this system. And so they, at the last meeting, they had some samples of what they did. And it was such a popular thing. And they've had, some great fundraising initiatives over the last year and a half, 2 years during COVID, and the lack of ability to spend it on field trips and whatnot. They turned around and bought themselves one. So St. Gregory now has their own CNC machine for students to use, which for those in the community that we're really hoping that our high school would be a vocational high school where we could get some trades training. Well, we have a little bit of an insight to the trades at the K-9 school, St. Gregory. The other thing that I took part in, and I think some other councillors took part in, was emerging trends. So one of the law firms in Alberta, Brownlee, who deals with municipal governance law, they put on a couple of sessions here, and once again they held one. I was quite interested in hearing some of the precedent that came out of some legal action with regards to COVID and some challenges that have been faced from human resources side, people being required to be vaccinated or losing their positions. That's still in its early phase, but it does seem like with the restrictions, the exemption program now being eliminated, that hopefully those situations will be remedied. I know that the Catholic School Board, that was another discussion, that they didn't implement the mandatory vaccine, which was a relief to many people. So, but it is a legal mess for many employers. So that was something that came up in that discussion. So if anyone has any questions, they can certainly get a hold of me regarding my roundtable. So can I get a motion to accept the roundtables as information? Councillor Dennis.
I'll move the roundtable discussion as presented.
As information.
For information.
Thank you. All in favor? That is unanimous. 11.1 minutes from February 8th. The errors or omissions. Seeing none, can I get a motion to adopt those minutes? Councillor Sands?
I'll move to adopt the minutes of Tuesday, February 8th, 2022 as information.
As presented.
As presented.
As presented.
Okay, so no amendments, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried unanimously, thank you. We have no notices of motion. Is there any business for the good of council? Seeing none, we do have a confidential item, so this will end the open session or the open portion of our council meeting this evening. Thank you for joining us. Can I get a motion to go into a brief recess? That's just all.
I'll move for a 5-minute recess.
Thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.